Hello everyone, Miss Meek here, and today we are going to talk about a shape called trapezoids. And we're going to talk about how to find the area of trapezoids. A trapezoid is a cool figure. It is a four-sided figure, so it is a four-sided quadrilateral, okay? It has exactly one pair of parallel sides. So these sides up at the top and the bottom there, the bases there, those are parallel, meaning that they will never crisscross or anything like that. These sides can be different sizes, so they're not congruent or anything like that. So the big special thing about trapezoids is that they have that set of parallel sides. Trapezoids can also be drawn as a right trapezoid, and a right trapezoid has a right angle for one of its corners. So again, you can still see those parallel sides there, but one of the corners is a right angle. So let's talk about the area of a trapezoid. How do I find that? The area formula for area of a trapezoid is kind of a long one. The area is going to equal 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2, and that's how you write that. So let's write that out with words there. So area is going to equal 1/2 times your height, and then that is times your base 1 plus base 2. So that is what it is written out in words. So you're probably wondering, base 1, base 2, like what is this? All of our other shapes we've talked about only had a base. Why are there two different bases here? Well, when you look at a trapezoid, you can actually see that there is a smaller base here at the top. I like to label it base 1. Okay, and then there's a different size base at the bottom, base 2. Now, in all of our other shapes, the bases have been the same size. So rectangles, the bases, the top and the bottom are the same size. Parallelograms, the bases are the same size. In a triangle, you only have the one base. And so this shape, there are two bases and they are different sizes. And so you have to add them together to get one like mega base. And so those are your bases. Now your height is still the same. Your height is the straight line from the top of the shape to the bottom. So this is still my height, the straight line here from the top of the shape to the bottom. And then we are going to be cutting this in half. The reason why is that a trapezoid is actually formed from a parallelogram. You take a parallelogram and cut it in half, and that's how you get one trapezoid. And so that is why our area is going to have to be cut in half, because this shape is formed by cutting another shape in half. Here again is that right trapezoid that I talked about before. It makes it a right trapezoid because of that right angle there in the corner. That is what makes it what's called a right trapezoid. And again, it also has those two different size bases that have to be added together. And what's really cool about a right trapezoid is that the height is really obvious. The height is going to be where that right angle is. So this right here is your height on a right trapezoid. It's that outside wall. All right, so let's jump in and start using this formula, plugging these things in. So first of all, remember with every one of my shapes, I want to write the formula, okay? I want to write my formula out so that way I can plug all of my numbers in and make sure I don't forget anything. The second thing that I want to do is I want to label my pieces. This right here is base number 1. This right here is base 2. And then, of course, this is our height right here. Now that I know all of my different pieces, I can plug them into my formula. So area is going to equal 1/2 times the height, which is 4, times that first base, which is 3, plus the second base, which is 7. Again, we're making a mega base, sort of. We have to add those two bases together because they are different sizes to get one full base. Once I plug my numbers in, now all we have to do is solve. The area is going to equal 1/2 times 4. I have to, order of operations tells me to solve parentheses first, so I have to add those together. And then just like our triangles, I can multiply these numbers here in any order that I want. So I can multiply the 4 and the 10 together. I can multiply the 1/2 and a 4 together. It doesn't matter what order I combine these things together. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to multiply 4 times 10. So area equals 1/2 times 40. And then the last step is to multiply that 1/2 times 40. Now remember, multiplying by a half is the same as dividing by 2. So 40 divided by 2, or 40 times 1/2, is going to give me a final area of 20 inches to the second power. Again, make sure you watch for your units. You have to put units on your area problems. All right, let's try the same thing again, but this time with a right trapezoid. Remember, identify the shape. This is a trapezoid, so I write that formula. Second step is I need to identify my different pieces. This up here is base 1. This down here is base 2. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. It doesn't matter which one's base 1 or base 2. I just call the little one base 1, or the one on top base 1, and the one on bottom base 2, just because that's the order that I mess with them. But honestly, either one of them could be base 1 or base 2. That doesn't matter so much because you're just adding them together. And then, of course, this 5 right here is a straight line from the top of the shape to the bottom of the shape, and so that is our height. All right, plug those numbers in so that we can solve. Area is going to equal 1/2 times that height, which is 5, times those bases. Base 1 is a 2, and base 2 is a 7. There we go. We got to start solving now. So order of operations tells me to solve those parentheses first. So 1/2 times 5 times 2 plus 7, which is 9. I can multiply these in any order. Now remember, guys, be a little smart about how you multiply these. If I multiply 1/2 times 5, I'm going to have to now multiply with a decimal, because half of 5 is 2.5. So I think on this one, I'm going to multiply my 5 and my 9 together first. When I do that, I get 45. So I'm actually going to end up with a decimal anyway, because now my last step, or my next step, is going to be to divide this by 2, because multiplying by a half is the same as dividing by 2. So my last step is to take care of that. So over here to the side, I'm going to do some scratch work just to make sure I know what 45 divided by 2 is. I am going to be getting a decimal, and that is okay. We know how to handle decimals here. And I end up getting my final area to be 22 5/10, and don't forget your units, centimeters to the second power. So there is my final answer for that. So yes, this is a more complicated formula a little bit, because you have to add those bases together. But then after you add those bases together, it's just like our triangle. We multiply the numbers together, we cut it in half, and there you go, you're done. Now, one other thing that they may ask you to do is to find the height. So they're going to give you the area, and they're going to ask you to find a missing value, and that is going to be the height. So if we take a look at this problem, we have a lot of things going on here. First of all, this is a trapezoid, so I write that trapezoid formula. Base 1 plus base 2. All right, once I write that formula, my next step is to label all of my pieces. This is my base 1. This is my base 2. Notice I do not have a height, so I don't know what the height is. However, they did give me this number down here, and this is the area. So they told me what A equals. Once I know all these numbers, I plug them in, and then I'm going to figure out how do I solve this. So I plug those numbers in. A is 64. I don't know H, so I'm going to leave it as an H. And then B1, base 1 is a 5, and base 2 is an 11. So I'm going to add those together there. Whoops, wrong color. Change that real fast. Okay, there we go. All right, once I plug my numbers in, all I have left to do is to start solving this. So let's go ahead. Order of operations tells me that I have to add my numbers together first. So area equals 1/2 times that H. Excuse me, we know our area. Our area is 64. 64 equals 1/2 times H, and then 5 plus 11 is 16. Now, because I'm missing my H, because I'm missing my height, I have to multiply together this 1/2 and this 16. So 64 equals 8 times H. Now, I want to know what h equals, and so in order to do that, I need to get rid of this 8 right here. And so to do that, I am going to divide by 8, and if I divide on one side, I have to divide on the other. And so when I do that, my 8s are going to cancel, and then I'm going to be left with h, which is great because that's what I wanted. And I'm going to be left with 64 divided by 8, which is 8. And so my height, my missing height here is 8 feet. So working backwards is not that scary. They're going to give you the bases. You add them together, cut that answer in half, and then you divide your total area by that number, and that will give you the information for the missing height. All right, I hope this tutorial has helped you with any questions you had about trapezoids. Remember that this formula is area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 and base 2 added together to make one big base there. All right, so I will talk to you later. Bye.